So I just want to thank you all for coming out so we can give you an update on what's been happening. We've made great progress today. Most of the streets now, virtually all of them are open. The issue now, of course, is widening and the lack of width in the streets and intersections not being sightlines in the intersections not being good, and as well the sidewalks that are still a challenge. There's still a lot of work to be done, but we had good progress today, and we'll continue with the widening and the blowback and snow removal, whatever is working, as well as the sidewalk work continues. Some of the sidewalks we're going to need to have the big blowers go in and do those because there's just too much snow in there for the little. So all that is taking place.
Right. Okay, Mayor Breen, so the big call from residents yesterday was saying so much snow in a short period of time, let's call a state of emergency, which the city did not do. Mm-hmm. Can you explain why? Yeah, sure. So we, together with our neighboring municipalities, Mount Pearl and Paradise, and together with the government of Newfoundland and Labrador, have been very supportive of us in this. We looked where we were. With state of emergencies, it's not about volume of snow, it's not about the amount that's on the ground, it's about the circumstances that you're in. So we were there on a day which was a holiday where there was nobody moving around the city. Looking to today, Memorial was on midterm break. The schools were closed anyway. The government agreed to close their offices, as well as the university agreed to close their offices. All the municipalities closed their recreation facilities. So we were able to bring out the traffic around town down to a point where we can be effective with our snow clearing operations and to be able to do it safely as well. So that was a big help and allowed us to get the amount of work done that we have done today. When you're looking at a state of emergency, there's a whole lot of factors that are involved in that. And a couple of things that came out of Snowmageddon is people told us that we want you to work better. We want you to work better with your neighboring municipalities and work closer with the government. And we took advantage of this opportunity to do that. And we came to agreement on this way forward.
One of the things that we heard to our newsroom was a number of first responders stuck behind vehicles who were out and about for whatever reason through the day and into this morning. Was that a consideration at all when you're thinking about a state of emergency?
Yeah, so we have a plan in place for that between St. John's Regional Fire Department and the first responders. I know of one incident where a vehicle was stuck. The firefighters were attending to a medical call along with Eastern Health. They left the truck, went to the medical call, and when they came back, our truck was there to assist them out of that. So the fire department and the leadership of our emergency team, they have plans in place to make provisions for when those things happen, because you don't know when they're going to happen when you're in a winter-like situation like we have. So I understand that the plan went according to their plan.
When the snow's removed, where is it brought to, and will you be looking for a permit to move it into the ocean?
Yeah, that's a great question, Mark. The snow right now is moved. We have a snow storage facility at Robin Hood Bay, and obviously that's quite a trek to bring the snow. So I'm working through the process that we have in place to get permission to put it in the harbor, and we're working through that process now.
And why would that be necessary?
Well, it's necessary because it's a shorter distance, so you can get more snow moved quicker if you're putting it into harbor. If you're taking it to Robin Hood Bay, then it's going to take more trucks to keep the blowers going, because you always want to have a stream of trucks taking it away, but they have longer distances to travel. So just more efficient if we can take the snow, particularly in the downtown area, to there.
It was a lot of heavy, sort of wet snow in a short period of time. What were the challenges that snow removal faced?
Well, I think I'll let Lynnann speak to that.
Okay. So the snow removal is going to start tonight and tomorrow, right? So we haven't really hit any of the challenges there. But the challenge is what will be the challenges will be the volume of snow that we have there, right? And there's very little room to put snow anywhere other than the roof. And so in a typical winter, in an average winter, you can do what we call blowback operations, where you see it in subdivisions mainly, where we can just put the snow on someone's lawn. Like, there's really no room left in most of the city now, so we are looking at snow removal, which will require the trucks to truck it away.
And Lynnann, as Mayor Breen said, you're making great progress here today, which is good news. But with another storm on the way this evening into tomorrow, are we confident that we can stay on top of the snow clearing from this storm and the snow clearing for tomorrow's storm?
That's the $1 million question, isn't it? I mean, it seems like we're in for a well above average winter, and we're certainly doing all we can to stay on top of it. We certainly appreciate all the residents' efforts by keeping their cars off the roads and minimizing driving today, and in particular not putting snow back out onto the cleared road. But we'll do everything we can to stay on top of it, and hopefully the snow that is forecast for the night, maybe we'll win this one, and it'll be less than what's forecasted.
We've heard from some residents, including one on Bearshaw Street, who had snow piled up on the end of their driveway, about 8 feet tall. We've seen that around the city. Are you guys working to remove some of those at the end of the driveways as well?
Well, right now, city staff have to focus on the city as a whole, and we got to try to get streets widened and get all operations back to normal. That has to be our focus right now.
And Lynnann or Mayor Breen, whoever this is better for, is fine with myself. We were in Southlands today talking to residents who say they understand the amount of snow that we are getting, but they still feel neglected in snow clearing. Is there anything that you can say on that topic?
Look, when we're going through this process, and I fully understand the frustration and the anxiety that this causes residents. I'm a resident as well. I go out and did my driveway today, and there was no place to put it. I was trying to find a spot to have it. So I get it, and the streets are narrow, and until we can get to those, they'll still be narrow. So it comes in a process, and we just talked about upcoming storms. So if we're out doing snow removal or blowback operations and widening, and it snows, we have to send our crews back out to do plowing because we have to keep the streets open. When it comes to doing the snow removal operations, we do have a priority system. It can't all be done at once. We don't have the equipment to be able to go out and do all the areas at once. We use contractors that assist us in that, and we're hiring those contractors on a regular basis to do that work. But we have to do it on a priority basis, and so our plan is to keep moving through. We realize the problem, and particularly in Southlands, in Brookfield Estates is another one, Airport Heights. These are areas, Ken Mount Terrace, that are having real problems with snow and narrow roads, and we're going to get there. These storms or events that come in don't help us doing that, but we're putting all our resources and all the contractors' resources into getting that taken care of as soon as we can.
Is there any additional contingency planning or anything taking place? I mean, we still have arguably a third of the winter ahead, and there's already a lot on the ground as it stands. What happens if we have a snowy March?
Thanks for reminding me we got a third of the winter left.
Sorry.
We have a plan that continues to do the same thing. It's a process in place. If it snows, we open up the streets, clear the snow, push it back, widen the streets. It's the problems that we get into is when we have another snow event happens in the meantime, and that's what slows down the process. It's the same thing with the sidewalks. The sidewalk snow clearing works very well, but when you get this amount of snow on a sidewalk like that, it becomes more of a challenge to get them open. And that's why we need to do some of it with the street widening that we're doing there. And that's the most efficient way to be able to get it done. But yes, I'm hopeful the winter's going to be over soon, but we're if it keeps snowing, we're just going to keep moving it, and we're just going to keep removing it, and make sure that everybody can move safely throughout the city as soon as possible.
And with that, and another storm coming, what would be your overall message to residents, Mayor Breen? I know there was a lot of kind of stay off the road so folks can clear, don't dump on roadways. Just in general, I guess people are feeling anxiety at this time, we understand.
Yeah, I understand that, and you know, it creates some anxiety for me too, because it's a lot. But I think people need to be patient. They need to understand that our staff are out there, they're working diligently. We've got all our equipment out there. We made investments in our fleet that have improved our ability to keep equipment on the road and keep the equipment working. We're going to continue battling these snowstorms as they come. People can help by keeping their cars off the street, being very careful when you're on the road. There's going to be pedestrians on the road for a little while we get those sidewalks straightened away. So be cognizant of that. And when you're coming to an intersection, take a couple of extra seconds to have a look around as you go around that turn. You got to be extra careful. So we all have a part to play in this, and we're working hard to get it cleaned up. But some patience, and so far, from my perspective, the residents of the city have been very understanding about what we're dealing with, and very supportive of the work that's been done.
If you do move snow into the harbor, where does that happen?
That's a really good question, and we don't really know that right now. I think that depends. That's something that's got to be worked out in the process.
Yeah, to be determined, basically.
And what's the, do you have to make an application for a permit to do that?
No, we just have to basically request that we be prepared, that we can do it, and that's in process, making that request.
And you request that to
Federal government.
Federal government. Thank you.
Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Thank you.